And we're going to prophesy this. Oh, God, Baal, he will show up. And they're prophesying this. And they're running their mouth. I can almost imagine Elijah going, go ahead, just do it a little bit louder. And then they're losing their voice, and Elijah's probably sitting back going, yeah, that's what I was saying. Just keep going. You're digging yourself your own grave.
Yes, they are.
Just keep going. That's all you're doing, running your mouth. And Elijah said to all the people, come near me. So all the people came to him. And he repaired the altar. Now I thought this was interesting. He repaired the altar of the Lord. He didn't build a new one. There was one already there. It had fallen into disarray because it hadn't had attention. It fell apart and the rocks had moved and shifted because nobody had been worshiping at it for a long time. And he repaired it and got it ready for their bowl and their sacrifice. You guys, we've had an altar of worship that didn't get worshipped at for a long time in America.
That's true.
We let it fall apart and we let it get messed up. Part of that, and I take this seriously, part of that is the worship leader's faults. The calling of a worship leader is called to take care of that altar. We're called to service that altar and minister to God from that altar and make sure that it is ready for the people to worship at.
That's right.
And to the worship leaders in the church, we have failed at our calling. And a couple years ago, the Lord really stirred in my heart when He began to speak to me about covering the throne of God with prayer. And He began to speak to me about restoring that altar.
Yes.
And understanding that that was my job.
Yes.
But your job as the people is to come to that altar. And we do that. Everybody has their own altar in their life. We have a corporate altar that we worship at, and we have our own. And the question is, what does your altar look like? Is it in disarray? Is it ripped apart? Maybe you haven't worshipped in a really long time. Then it's time for you to get your altar right. It's time for you to prepare it and get it ready for God to show up.
That's right.
He can't show up until your altar's ready. Elijah knew he had to make a place for God to show up. He just said, the God that sends down fire. Well, where's the fire going to go if it doesn't have a place to go? We say, well, God, we want your revival. But if your heart isn't ready for the fire of God, then it has nowhere to go. Yeah. You're asking amiss. Wrong question. Elijah didn't pray to God to come down until the altar was ready for God to come down.
Oh, that's good, Jasta.
We have to go one before the other. That's why Chronicles says, if my people would humble themselves and pray, turn from their wicked ways. You know what he's saying? Repair your altar. That's what the church has been working on for the past few years. Repair the breach, repair the altar. And then I will hear from heaven and heal your land. We cannot cry for fire from God until we have a place for it to go. Yeah. How's the altar in your personal life? How's the altar in your church as a pastor? How's the altar in the place of worship? Is there a breach? Is it busted apart? Well, then we better repair it.
That's true.
So that the fire and the presence of God has a place to go.
Yes. That's right.